Here we're going to do division problems. And I know there's multiple ways to do long division, so I'm just going to show you the one way that makes the most sense to me. So if we have 46 divided by 2, and so this is how you write this in long division. 46 divided by 2. Okay, so it's kind of like reading right to left. 46 divided by 2. All you do is you just look digit by digit and then form your answer. So we're just going to look first at the 4. How many times does 2 go into 4 without going over? Well, 2 can go into 4 2 times. So just above the 4, we write 2, our answer. Then we do a multiplication. 2 times 2 is 4, so we write that below our 4. And then we do a subtraction. 4 minus 4 equals 0. We still have a number over here, so we're going to bring that down. Now we're going to look down here. How many times does 2 go into 6? It goes into 6 3 times. So above the 6, we write 3. Then we do a multiplication. 3 times 2 is 6. We write that number down here, and we do a subtraction. 6 minus 6 is 0. We don't have any more numbers, so we're done. So it's the same process regardless of what you're doing. It's looking at how many times will this number go into that digit without going over. You write your answer above that digit. You do a multiplication, write the number down, and then subtract. Once you've done the subtraction, you bring the next number down and look at that number. And again, it's how many times does it go into it, write your answer, do a multiplication, write the number down, and do a subtraction. So now we'll do 608 divided by 4. Again, just look at the first digit. How many times does 4 go into 6 without going over? Well, it can only go one time, because if it goes twice, 2 times 4 is 8, and that's bigger than 6, and that's not what we want. We want how many times will it go into that number without going over. So we can only put it in there once. Then we do a multiplication, just like before. 1 times 4, we write that number down, is 4, and we do a subtraction. 6 minus 4 is 2. Then we bring a number down, which happens to be 0 in this case. How many times does 4 go into 20? Well, it goes 5 times. So above the 0, we're going to write 5. Again, multiplication. 5 times 4 is 20. We write that number down and do a subtraction. 20 minus 20 is 0. Then we have to bring this number down. How many times does 4 go into 8? It goes 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. We write that number down, do a subtraction. 0. We don't have any more numbers, so we're done. The answer is 152. Now let's do something a little more complicated. 609 divided by 4. How many times does 4 go into 6? It can only go one time without going over. Multiplication. 1 times 4 is 4. Then do a subtraction. 6 minus 4 is 2. Bring a number down, which happens to be 0. Then look down. How many times does 4 go into 20? 5. Put the 5 above the 0. Do a multiplication. 5 times 4 is 20. Write that number down. Do a subtraction. 20 minus 20 is 0. Bring a number down. 9. How many times does 4 go into 9? It can go twice. So above the 9 we write 2. Do a multiplication. 2 times 4 is 8. Write that number down. Do a subtraction. 9 minus 8 is 1. Now, we have one left over, and that's called the remainder. So if the question is asking for what's the remainder, it's 1. If it wants you to continue until you get a final answer, then we have to realize that 609 really has a decimal point here, and there's a bunch of zeros after it. 609 is the same as 609 decimal 000 off to infinity. So really, we do have a number up here. It's 0. So we can bring that number down. Now, once we put a decimal in our number, we have to move it directly above and put it in our answer. We'll extend that out. So wherever the decimal is, bring it straight up. So now we're going to have 152 point something. We've brought the 0 down. How many times does 4 go into 10? it will go twice. So above this 0 that we just brought down, we're going to write 2. Multiplication. 2 times 4 is 8. Subtraction. 10 minus 8 is 2. We have another 0 we can bring down. How many times does 4 go into 20? 5. Multiplication. 5 times 4 is 20. Subtraction. 0. So we don't need to bring any more zeros down when we're at 0, because that's the end of the question here. So the answer is going to be 152.25.